We had a client lose a 6-figure deal in industrial sales, and it wasn't due to price, service, deliverability, any of that stuff. It was strictly due to the fact that the salesperson stopped following up and did not treat this deal like it was going to close, and the competition was aggressive and hungry to close that deal. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 5 non-negotiable tactics of industrial selling and how to implement them today so you can start closing deals faster and making that money. I'm Kyle Milan, owner of Milan Media, and prior to starting this agency 10 years ago that helps industrial manufacturing companies with their sales and marketing, I was in your shoes as a salesperson for almost 15 years. And there is so much that I learned throughout my years of experience and know exactly what to do and what not to do. I've made every mistake, and I continue to evolve my sales tactics, whereas a lot of industrial salespeople are still living in the past with how they do things, and you gotta wake up and change, otherwise you're gonna be left in the dust. I'm just gonna get right into it. Non-negotiable number 1 is create a real follow-up system. A real follow-up system is not just I reached out once or twice. Hey, marketing sent me this lead and I reached out to the person, they didn't respond, therefore it's dead. Or I sent the quote to somebody and they didn't respond back, so it's dead. Or even if you follow up 1, 2, or 3 times, that is not a real follow-up system. You need to look at it from a standpoint that if you did the sales process correctly, and if you said, hey, this is the next step, I'm going to send you this proposal, and you start going ahead with when should I follow up with you so that way they expect it to come, when can we schedule the next meeting to review the pricing, when can I come back on site and review this with you, who else needs to be involved in the decision, and lead into it, then it's not going to be weird if you're following up 5, 7, 10, 20 times. Now, you can't do that all in 3 days. You need to spread it out. But just because they don't respond doesn't mean that they don't want it. It maybe means that they just didn't see it yet. You also have to change the methods of your follow-up, like I've said in so many other videos. You can't just email, because if that didn't get them to respond, you have to change the tactic. Maybe you need to text them. Maybe you need to call them. Maybe you just need to stop by, depending on what it is that you're selling. If they're a potential local customer, do you just stop by and be like, hey, I sent you a couple emails. I'm sure you didn't get them because you're busy. I want to stop by and see if you have a quick 5 minutes to chat about what I sent over. That's the way to do a follow-up system. They took the time to list out their pain points. You provide them with a solution. You sent them pricing. Then you don't just want to die at that point. There are so many deals that become stalled or ghosted because people stop the follow-up. If I go into client CRM systems, I say, show me all deals with no activity in the past 30 or 45 days. There is millions of dollars there. That's the lowest hanging fruit. You can reignite those deals super fast if you actually just had a salesperson that was hungry and aggressive. You got to think about it from a standpoint of you've got all these deals in the pipeline, and usually what salespeople do is they focus on the shiny object, and new lead comes in, maybe it's a bigger deal, they forget about the smaller deals. So you have to have a follow-up system in place to push these people through even when things get tough. Non-negotiable number 2, speed is king. Those that respond fastest will lead the path and possibly get the deal. Now, I'm not going to tell you that you have to respond within 3 minutes, 3 hours, or 3 days. I'm just going to tell you that if you get an inbound lead, if you're in sales and marketing sends you an inbound lead and you don't respond to that lead within the day, the business day, then you are drastically reducing the odds and the chances of you closing that deal. They obviously have probably reached out to other people. They're not just going to go after one person and say, hey, I want pricing or I have this problem. I'm going to go after one company and ask them to solve it for me. They're going to shop around. They're going to reach out to at least 2, 3, maybe 5 different companies. And so therefore, if they reach out to you first and you don't respond, meanwhile, they've already reached out to other companies because they've set aside time to go and try and solve this problem, and they do respond, you're now in, 3rd, 4th, 5th on the list, to where maybe the 2nd or 3rd company responded quickly or answered the phone or returned their call, and they're already having conversations, identifying the pain points, offering up a solution, and doing a very solid sales process for industrial. Meanwhile, you're like leaving them voicemails, sending them emails back. They've already moved on and said like, oh, I don't want to mess with this person. They didn't respond fast enough. I'm already down the path, building trust with these other 2 companies or these other 3 companies. And therefore, I'm going to give them my attention because that person didn't give me their attention back once I showed interest. So you have to follow up extremely quick. Again, I'm not going to say it has to be within minutes, but at least at a minimum within the end of that business day that they reached out to you. Non-negotiable number 3 is master discovery from a pain point identification standpoint. What I mean by that is that you have to identify what is the pain point. Really, all that industrial buyers care about is downtime, scrap, safety, throughput, those types of things. So if that is their pain point, you have to identify it. You have to understand what's the cost of that pain point. So asking thought-provoking questions. When you're doing that discovery process, you need to be talking 20% of the time versus them 80% of the time. You should have a list of core standard questions that you're asking during that process, where it does not matter who comes in, does not matter what you're selling. There are answers to questions that you need in order to provide them with a proper solution that makes sense, builds the trust, and gets them to believe that you can solve their problem. When they reach out to you or you reach out to them, are you having these issues? What does that cost you? What type of value would you place on that if I was able to fix that for you? Who else has this problem inside your office or inside your plant? Those are all the questions that you want to ask. So that way, when it comes to responses to negotiation or responses to objections, you can say, yeah, I solved this problem with this amount of money, but you had told me in the beginning of the conversation that that cost your company X, Y, and Z. Therefore, my solution is going to be better in the long term and solve that problem, which will save you X amount of money. So people are always looking for ROIs. You have to lead them down the path to identify that pain point early, and then do not navigate away from that when it comes to objection handling. Always try to go back to that pain point. You said this was a priority. You said this was an issue, this type of time frame. Here's a solution for it. Did something change between when we had the first conversation and when I provided with the pricing? And if they say, yeah, we had internal meetings, the budget changed, etc. Okay, start that process over again. What is the new budget? What's the time frame? Who's involved in it, etc. You have to do qualifiers and quantify the pain in the discovery process early to help set you up for success in the closing aspect. Non-negotiable number 4, you need to sell the cake, not the ingredients. You don't need to go into it and throw up all the specs on what it is that you do, your machinery, your equipment, your service, how you solve all these different problems. You just need to say, if you identified the pain points in non-negotiable number 3, then you're selling the solution to their problem, not all the things that you're going to do as part of that solution. When you approach it from that standpoint, you get less into the nitty-gritties from a pricing, where you break down every single line item on a quote. You can say, hey, you had this issue. Here's the solution for that problem. Here's the cost behind it. This is the time frame that you said you want it done. This is how the ROI that you're going to get. And therefore, they're going to say, okay, cool. But if they come back and start nitpicking on every single line item, and you just say, hey, this is your problem, you need this, and that, and you focus on that, then they're going to be able to focus on a budget standpoint and say, oh, but this line item, can I get a discount? You don't want to have those conversations. Identify the problem, offer up a solution, sell the cake, not the way that you're making it. Non-negotiable number 5, and probably one of the most important pieces to hold everything together, is the CRM system. Every single thing has to be in the CRM. I can't tell you how many times we've talked to new customers and they come in and I'm like, hey, let's look at the data, because data is going to make every decision. Where's your performance? Where's your holes in your pipeline? Where's the holes in the ship where you're losing money, not increasing performance? How did you look this year over last year, this quarter over last year's same quarter? All that data's got to be there. And if you say, hey, I got a CRM system, but my sales guys aren't using it, then you can't possibly hold them accountable to any sort of goals. So when you're having meetings, you just say, if it's not in the CRM, it didn't exist. How many calls did you make? Meetings did you have? Quotes did you do? Deals did you close? Is it in the CRM system? Are all of your notes in there? That's a way to structure it. And you set that tone now early in the year, and that will make your 2026 that much easier, because then you can just look at the data and say, like, is this an effective method? If I've got a sales guy that says he wants to make 500 phone calls a day, and I say, cool, we're going to track the outcome of it. Maybe after 2 or 3 weeks, it's not effective. He spent all this time making these calls and it didn't result in any deals, or maybe after 2 or 3 months. And if you're not tracking that information, you can't possibly say whether it's working or it isn't. Every salesperson has to put the information in it. They all hate CRM systems, because I feel like it's because it holds them accountable. They think that it's just a waste of time putting the notes in there. You can set criteria at your company and say, what do I want in there? What don't I want in there? What do I need? What don't I need? But at a bare minimum, I need all these contacts, deals, leads to be qualified, emails logged, meetings set, phone calls logged, notes, etc. All that has to be in there, so that way I can do proper reporting and then make decisions based on the data and not just what somebody's saying. All right, let's recap. The 5 non-negotiables for 2026 to increase your industrial sales pipeline. Number 1, have a real sales follow-up process. You should be reaching out to people more than 3 times in any sort of situation. Number 2, speed is everything. You need to be responding to leads quickly, at a minimum within a day, preferably within an hour. Got to act fast if you want to win that cake. Number 3, discovery process. You're looking for the pain points to quantify them, not just throwing up your solutions and your services and your spec sheets. You have to say, what is the problem, offer up a solution, then close them. Number 4, sell the cake, not the ingredients. You're there to solve the problem, not tell them exactly how you're going to do it with all the steps involved. They don't care. All they want is a solution to their problem that's keeping them up at night. And number 5, if it's not in the CRM system, it doesn't exist, make sure that you are holding your team accountable, inputting their information so you can track it, measure performance, and make adjustments as things slip. If you guys got value out of this content, share it with somebody that you know. If you're not already subscribed to the YouTube, please subscribe, turn on notifications, follow me on LinkedIn, and I'll see you on the next one.